Alright, the biggest fight of 2025 started. And since it's been a big topic in the community, I want to talk about it. Sendo's death. I'll make arguments for and against Sendo's death in his fight against Ricardo, because it's not as crystal clear as one might think. There are two major reasons, and one of them is directly connected to us readers. First, Sendo and Ippo are basically best friends at this point. They have been for years, to be honest. And what is this manga called? Hajime no Ippo. Even if Ippo also means first step in Japanese, his name is still in the title of the damn series. He's the main character. I can't even stay serious. But he was the main character at one point, and he will be the main character again. Why is this important? Because of Ippo's personality. Just think about how he reacted when Mashiba ended up comatose in the ICU. He had a whole crash out in Kamogawa's office about knowing your own limits and not going any further than that. But we know that he reacted like this for the sake of his own students. Still, it's something that is connected to his character, and it's very much in line with his past behavior. It gave him a different view on boxing altogether, so he's already on edge. This is someone who felt the effects of boxing firsthand. He retired because his brain was starting to feel weird, and he didn't even have a diagnosis. He retired because he was feeling off, and he went down much easier than before. What happens if his best friend and longtime rival just straight up dies in the ring while his other bro is still in the hospital bed? It's just the craziest overkill ever, and it would be too much for Ippo to handle. Taking his mother into consideration is also important here. Back in the early chapters when she ended up in the hospital because of overworking, Ippo was ready to retire immediately. He was ashamed of himself because he thought he was selfish and naive. Once his mother hears about Sendo passing away, I can't imagine she will allow him to pursue an action-filled and high-paced boxing career that will lead him to Ricardo Octoco Martinez, the man who just killed his best bro. That's reason 1. And now for reason 2, which is much more simple. Sendo is one of the biggest fan favorites. When Takamura is not fighting, he's probably even the biggest fan favorite. Please imagine Hajime no Ippo without him for a second. Just think about the last 200 chapters. Even Ippo's retirement, sparrings, Mexico, all the jokes and conversations during the fights. If Sendo isn't there, the manga won't have enough fire. The whole atmosphere and connection Ippo has with him, it just hits different with Sendo in the mix. And Sendo needs to be there when Ippo fights Ricardo. His comments give every interaction the spiciness it needs. Hajime no Ippo will be much more empty without him, is what I'm saying. And I think Morikawa is more than aware of this. He would kill the manga's viral appeal without Sendo's insane panels. Hajime no Ippo without Sendo is the end of the show. This brings me to the arguments for Sendo's death. Reason 1 and 2 are connected, so it'll be clean and clear. First of all, Joe's death. This has been the main argument ever since the fight has been announced, maybe even before. Everybody who says he will die names Ashita no Joe as their reason. Since Sendo is heavily influenced by Joe, this obviously isn't far-fetched. We already got the sitting Joe Yabuki pose from Sendo when he lost to Ippo the first time. Maybe this was it as far as the reference goes, but it doesn't mean he can't die after all. The references don't need to happen back-to-back immediately. Some things take time. But let me ask this, because this will lead us to reason 2. At which point in the series did Joe die? Correct, at the end. In the very last chapter. This means that if we are arguing for Sendo's death, we are arguing for the end of the show, as I've said earlier. Sendo dies like Joe, and Hajime no Ippo ends like Ashita no Joe. The prophecy is fulfilled and a fan favorite is eliminated, which makes a continuation close to impossible. Imagine Zoro dies in One Piece or Kenpachi in Bleach. Impossible. What will happen in this case is Ippo won't return and Miyata will most likely either fight Ricardo or go up and wait and fight Rosario. If we are highly optimistic, we might get a Miyata vs Ippo spar in the basement of the Kamogawa boxing gym as a final fight of Hajime no Ippo. I know it's hype and gets the blood pumping when we think about the death of a major character like Sendo, but the aftermath won't be as hype. If we want a longer Hajime no Ippo, Sendo has to live. If we want to wrap it up quick, he'll die.